From London, this is Rabbiting On.
I lie, I cheat, I steal. I lie, I cheat, I steal. Yo, I'm a bad man.
Indeed, he has become a bad man. This is David Monid, the rabbit that likes to rabbit on about stuff. Welcome to this special Rabbiting On, as I explain to the best of my ability the entire situation surrounding Jirard Khalil, aka the Completionist. And, yeah, it's a doozy. I can tell you that. I mean, lots of people have been talking about the subject for months now, but, yeah, it is indeed that, a doozy. Well, it all began a couple of months ago when two YouTubers, Carl Jobs and Mudaha, or Muda, from the channel Some Ordinary Gamers, both noticed some discrepancies involving Jirard Khalil's tax returns, which were available as public knowledge. They can simply go on to the IRS website or to check up on these things. But yeah, they noticed that there were some discrepancies within the numbers. Basically, some of the money that was supposed to go to a foundation that is opened called the Open Hand Foundation. Jirard's mother sadly passed away from a condition called frontal temporal dementia. And as well as doing YouTube videos where he completes video games, which he has been doing for a good number of years now, I think since 2011, but I can't actually remember offhand when it began, but it was quite a long while ago. But yeah, on the side, he'd been collecting money through several charity streams and events for research into dementia, so that, of course, cures, more treatments, that sort of thing can be found, and people with these conditions can be helped. But since this controversy has come out, then yeah, it's been a huge roller coaster ride, really. Things have been going downhill for the Completionist very fast because of all this. And one thing just leads to another, and then another, with lots of people assuming right now that even though he put on a friendly face for many, many years and appeared to be, YouTube's Mr. Nice Guy, but now it seems that he has some very dark secrets, and they have been unraveled ever since this whole thing blew up. And yeah, for Jirard, it is not looking too good, especially regardless of whether or not the main accusation is proven or not. He has been made out to look like a complete liar, and well, he is. He's been contradicting himself on many, many occasions where he just simply didn't speak the truth. What happened is, of course, as I mentioned, through all this time, he'd been supporting this Open Hand Foundation, which was founded by his father, and I think his brother may have had something to do with it as well. I can't actually remember. He may have mentioned something like that, but again, who knows what this guy says is true? But whatever. Anyway, it's the Khalil family funded it, basically. Anyway, to go into dementia research. And for many years, they had been claiming to have been receiving money from donations to go into the foundation through plain regular donations, or through streams that he had hosted through a streaming charitable service that Jirard had started called Indieland, which is also supposed to help with getting independent games off the ground. Pretty much, as far as I'm aware. And there was also a golf tournament, which also raised money, or so we thought. But as Carl Amuda had discovered, the numbers just didn't add up. There was still a lot of money that wasn't accounted for through any of the years where the tax returns were filed. And ever since then, Jirard has come up with many different, variations of what actually happened to the money. He says sometimes that it went towards production costs for either like for the streams or for paying for certain services to be had at the golf tournaments and this, that, and the other. And just, yeah, it's all really shady because he should have really been honest, and he's never been honest. That much is definitely proven. Because if that was the case, he should, he should have said straight away. By the way, we may have to offset some of these donations for costs, so not every penny will be going towards the charity. But no, he doesn't say that. He says in his streams, we're not going to touch a penny of this money. It's all going to go to charity, which obviously it didn't. And yeah, it's it's a very, very ugly situation. Though, and also, that's another thing. He claims in his streams that that the Open Hand Foundation was working with a lot of these dementia charities, but they never did because obviously they weren't getting any money, like at all. They did, however, make a donation of $600,000. I can't remember to whom, but it was to a leading dementia charity. However, it wasn't a charity that was often listed among the Open Hand Foundation's companies and such. So, yeah, that in itself is also quite suspect. Then there was the phone call he had between Muda and Carl Jobs in regard to the whole situation. And in the phone call, the entirety of the call has now been made public, but at first only certain clips were shown. At first because the two men actually were willing to give Jirard the benefit of the doubt. They looked at each other and realised, oh yeah, there's some discrepancies in these numbers, but maybe Jirard may simply not know. Maybe something else is going on. And that, of course, is why the two contacted him to get his side of the story and see if he knew what was going on. And Jirard said, basically, it wasn't until, or he said 2022, but then changed it to 2021, or the latter. Actually, I think it was 21, and then he said 22. Maybe that could have very well been out of nervousness, but now that he strings along people, that again is now being seen as suspect. But basically, he said that it was only a couple of years ago where he found out that the money wasn't being donated, and he said, that's not cool. We have to do something about this. But even then, when he found out about it, there was still hoarding money. And that's another thing. He said that at first the Open Hand Foundation was a private charity rather than a public one. Private charities can make donations, but they have to be in exact lump sums. And if that was the case, then all Jirard had to do was say, at the moment, because of this, we need to get a large amount of money to make one lump sum, and then we donate it to the dementia charity of our choice. If they'd been honest about that, then again, as Carl Muda said, we wouldn't be here if he'd just been honest with that information. But then he said that they were changing it from being a private charity to a public charity, meaning that any money donated should have gone straight to various charities right away. But that's the thing, it wasn't. Even during this period, or after the period was over where it's supposed to have changed from being a private charity to a public one, which was about 2020, a lot of money should have been donated to the dementia charities, but none was. No money at all was given until fairly recently when all this blew up, where they made the $600,000 donation to this dementia charity. And everyone's, and rightfully, well, not everybody at the time, everyone thought, oh, he's donated, hooray, we can now forget this whole thing. No, No, you can't forget it because there's still a lot of indiscrepancies. And, it's out there now. It's out there that Jirard had lied. He is a liar. Plain and simple. He is a liar. There's no other way of getting around it. He flat out lies. Again, he said all of the money is going to go to charity, and that wasn't the case. A lot of people are saying that the only reason they donated the $600,000 was because all this blew up. Which, well, from the way things are looking, that's pretty much what's going on. And then during the call with Carla Muda again, Jirard even, he didn't outright offer them this, but he suggested it. He suggested perhaps maybe if he arranged a bribe for the two of them to keep quiet about the whole thing, because he didn't want his reputation to be shot. But, well, it's happened now, and that was pretty damning that he wanted to keep those two quiet while all this was going on, when, he knew that this whole thing should have been sorted out years ago. But, it also goes without saying that his family background is also kind of suspect, particularly his father, where, again, it's a bit uncomfortable when people have to discuss family members, but the clues, are there. There have been a few times, I saw a video by Smash JT on this, where there have been a few videos or a few instances where Jirard had been known publicly to joke about his father, but from the way he described him, it sounds like he's not a particularly nice person, and also seems to be all in it for the money. And as the old saying goes, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My own 2 cents on the whole situation involves Greg Wilmot, the original partner for Jirard when he did his earlier episodes of The Completionist. In fact, he had to, or felt like he had to do, all the games he had completed while Greg was working for him again in his New Game Plus videos. The main reason for that was he wanted to redo them all over again so that he didn't have to rely on using the original videos anymore, because he didn't want Greg to potentially sue him. So from that alone, you can tell that the guy was all about the money more than anything else, which, again, if it was raising money for this charity because of his late mother, fair enough. But, well, after all this, you begin to wonder, if that was ever the case at all. And speaking of his late mother, that's the thing. He tends to want to use her quite often as a defense. And, it can sometimes get very, very awkward. In fact, in his response video, which he posted in regard to the situation, and apparently his only response video in regard to the situation, for whatever reason, he felt the need to include his mother's autopsy report in the links in the description. And as Muda himself had said about that particular video, instead of, an autopsy report, he should show a few more financial receipts, about these particular numbers. He quotes these random numbers saying, oh, that year we raised so-and-so amount of money, and this year we raised so-and-so amount of money. But instead of actually showing us any written proof that was what's going on, he just says it. And he probably expects people to take him at his word, because, again, oh, I'm jolly, I'm happy all the time, I'm Mr. Nice Guy, believe what I say. No, just no. People are not going to take your word at face value anymore. Not after all this. It's stupid. It really is. But he very likely expected people to believe him at face value on that, which, again, is stupid. And the other links he provided were, there were some things they provided were, fine, but it still didn't answer everything. If anything, he kind of was deflecting, well, not kind of, he was deflecting a lot of the issues away from one thing to another. Then towards the end of the video, he threatened legal action. Yeah, he actually said that he was seeking legal advice, or him and his family are seeking legal advice. Didn't mention any names, but it's obvious that he was leaning toward, Carl and Muda, because they were the ones that brought this out into the open. And, well, I don't know much about the law or anything like that, but I mean, if I was in a position to give some legal advice to Jirard, I'll be like, well, it's your own damn fault. I'm sorry, but it is. You should have been a lot more open with the numbers. It wasn't like any of this stuff was privated. No, this stuff was open for the public to see. And these two men, Muda and Carl, both saw the indiscrepancies and wondered, wait, something's wrong here. The numbers just don't add up. That's why they contacted Jirard and tried to get his side of the story. And when it looked like that nothing was really going to be done about it until they called him out on it, that's what they did. They called him out on it, and he got angry about it. And, well, it's his own damn fault. He should have been more honest from the start. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, and that's exactly what they said. If he was honest, then we wouldn't be here. But he chose to be dishonest, and this is the consequences of his actions. So, yeah. Of course, this could very well lead into other things. It could very well be him trying to impress his father, because he wanted to prove that he is just as good as making money as he does, even if it's through fraudulent means. And yeah, that's the only other thing that was definitely proven is that charity fraud had been committed, because he flat out lied. He said that the money was going to charity, and it wasn't. That is the definition of charity fraud. That has been proven. Carl and Muda even, proved that. That is the definition of charity fraud. There is no other way of looking at it. It's charity fraud, plain and simple. And that is the whole crux of this major controversy involving the completionist. But of course now it's found out that he's a liar. So yeah, it's going to be very hard to take him at his word. Even if he does do another video, I'll bet lots of people are just going to, really question him, saying, is it true what you just said? Or is it just more lies? Are you saying this is going to happen, but the total opposite will happen? It's just, yeah, like I said, he might be under orders from his father to do all this. He's probably ordered to try and get the heat off of him, maybe. His father might be involved in some way, or maybe his brother or other members of the Khalil family. We don't know. And at the moment, at the time of this video, we don't know much else apart from what I've just mentioned. But it's starting to look like it's not looking very good for the family as a whole. But moving on, this all could very well be on him. In which case, yeah, he deceived a lot of people, and that is not good. And it is a good thing that Carl and Muda brought this out, and the two of them certainly don't need or deserve any kind of legal action for calling him out on it. They saw indiscrepancies which were public knowledge, or at least they were available to the public to be seen, and they, were just questioning him on it, and he chose to do nothing about it. He said he was going to do something about it, but quite clearly didn't. And so those two decided, if he's not going to do anything, then we need to tell people about it. And maybe that will get the ball rolling. And it did, in a way, it did. It meant that a charity did get $600,000 toward dementia research, which was the whole point in the first place. So some people's money have indeed been donated, but there are still major indiscrepancies. Oh, and the charity golf tournament thing? Yeah, apparently that's still going on. Yeah, there's still, as far as I'm aware, they still have a sign-up thing going on for that, which again is very suspect. And the Open Hand Foundation website is still there. Only certain links have been removed. And just, yeah, it's a huge, huge, huge mess. And yeah, this has definitely taught people that perhaps the best way of getting money or donating money to good causes is to give it to the cause directly rather than just to an individual who says, oh, I'm going to donate this money to this cause. And that is probably the best thing to do, really. If you want to support something like a major charity, do it directly. Don't give it to a single individual because you honestly don't know where the money's going to go to. And in this case, with Jirard Khalil, he's definitely proven that.
I lie, I cheat, I steal. I lie, I cheat, I steal. Yo, I'm a bad man.